Well, welcome everybody to the Colorado Proud webinar today. And today is exciting. We're going to be talking about Colorado's appetite for eating and buying local. We know our state loves that, so we're going to be digging into that. We have both Danielle Trotta, our Colorado Proud program manager, on, as well as Tara Keats. She is a partner with Philosophy Communications. Just a couple of housekeeping things for our webinar. If we could just mute our microphones to listen to our presenter, this just helps eliminate some background noise. We want questions, we encourage them. So raise your hand, type it in the chat, and I'll be monitoring that just to make sure that we get it addressed. And of course, we'll ask for questions after each speaker and again at the end. And if you come up with a question after the webinar, feel free to reach out to these speakers or reach out to me, barb.howe@state.co.us. So thank you all for joining. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to turn it over to our experts. Well, welcome you guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Barb.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, we will dive in. As Barb said, our topic for today is talking about Colorado's appetite for eating and buying local. As most of you know, Colorado Proud works with almost 4,000 local businesses, our members around the state, to help promote all things Colorado food and agriculture and encouraging folks shopping and dining across our state to look for the logo or to seek out products that are grown, raised, made here in Colorado. And every year we conduct two surveys, one with Colorado consumers statewide and a second one with Colorado Proud members and local businesses so that we can ensure the work that we are doing to promote Colorado and promote the Colorado Proud program and promote and encourage folks to buy local is resonating with Colorado consumers, and also to learn from Colorado consumers about what they're interested in, what trends that they're focused on when they're making their purchasing decisions, where they're seeking out or doing their grocery shopping, as well as then speaking with Colorado Proud members and local businesses to understand what are your needs? What are the challenges that you're facing? What are the struggles that you're facing? Connecting with consumers, marketing and promoting and selling your products. What could you see from Colorado Proud, or what would you like from the program and the Department of Agriculture so that we can ensure that the work we're doing on your behalf is having the most impact. So that's what Danielle and I are here to share with you all today, is the findings from those surveys from this past year, and share with you a little bit about what our plans are for the next 12 months. So we will go ahead and start by looking at what are consumers' appetite for buying and eating local here in Colorado. So first and foremost, we want to know, first and foremost, let me back up. We interviewed about 500 Colorado residents between the ages of 18 and 70, with a mix of urban, suburban, and rural statewide. And we asked them a whole host of questions to better understand, what their buying preferences are, where they're shopping, what they're looking for, their awareness of the program, etc. So what we've pulled out today are some highlights from that very long survey with those 500 residents, and what we think is going to be most applicable and, of interest to all of you as local food and ag businesses. So the first question we wanted to understand from our Colorado consumers is, where do they shop? A very, very overwhelming majority, as you can see here, 96% are shopping in grocery stores. So that's really important for us to understand, where are the vast majority of folks shopping? Where should we be targeting our marketing and outreach efforts to reach the most number of shoppers or, consumers, meet them where they're at, is something that we like to say. So grocery stores overwhelmingly is that primary place. That's also something important for Colorado Proud members and businesses like yourself to be keeping in mind of. Obviously, we can't all be in a major retailer or grocery store, or we may not have a product that you're selling directly to a grocery store or grocery retailer, but understanding that the vast majority of Coloradans, that's where they're doing their shopping. All right. So we also wanted to understand from them, what is their perceived access to local food products, right? So the majority, as you can see here, over almost 65% said that they believe that they have access to local food and local beverages in some of the stores or markets in their communities. So that tells us that the vast majority think that they have access to some local products nearby where they live, or in the main grocery retailer, farmers market, or place that they choose to do the most of their grocery shopping, which is reassuring to know that folks, by and large statewide, feel that they have some access. How far are folks traveling for groceries? The vast majority said that they're traveling between 1 and 5 miles. And so that's important for us to know and understand, because we need to be meeting folks where they're at, right? And so we understand that people's appetite is to look someplace in their neighborhood or in a neighboring community in that 1 to 5 mile range. The vast majority are not looking to drive more than 5 miles or a substantial distance to do their grocery shopping on a regular basis. And so that's important for us to look at on how do we make local Colorado Proud products and local food and agricultural products more accessible to these folks? How do we entice them to shop more locally or buy more local products? And that looks to us like that's going to be taking place, relatively closely in their own backyard. We wanted to understand, what is their frequency of grocery shopping? So you can see here the vast majority, almost 45%, are saying that they are doing their grocery shopping once a week. Followed by 35% set up to multiple times per week. So again, knowing that there's a very small percentage that are shopping daily and a very small percentage that are shopping monthly helps us better understand, how frequently could we be seeing the same consumer or shopper in a grocery store or at a farmer's market? What's the length of freshness or the shelf life on the products that they're most likely to be purchasing in that weekly or multiple time a week cadence? And that helps us understand, what's the period of time we should be advertising? How often should we be reaching them? How frequently do we need to change up our marketing and advertising and our messaging if people are coming in on a weekly basis, right? So this has given us some really, really good data as we look at the marketing plans for this next year. And then we get specifically into some questions for our Colorado consumers about the Colorado Proud program. So you can see here in the middle, you can see here on this chart, we asked them about a whole host of different food and beverage labels and their familiarity. USDA organic, non-GMO, Colorado Proud, gluten-free, vegan, kosher. Colorado Proud there in the middle, you can see that there was a decrease in their awareness of the logo in the last 18 months or so. There's a couple things that we believe go into that. One, we have historically always done our consumer surveys at the end of the summer, beginning of the fall, to try and maximize the awareness from folks at the tail end of the peak season in Colorado. That was not possible this last year because of both the Olympics and the elections. People were being inundated and overrun with surveys and polls and requests for data and information. And so we all made the conscious decision together to wait and conduct these surveys in the spring when people were not so fatigued from survey and poll requests. The other factor that we believe goes into that drop in the awareness is the fact that Colorado Proud's budget from a marketing standpoint had been reduced. So as some of you might know or recall, a couple of years ago, Colorado Proud did receive federal stimulus dollars, which enabled the program to do some pretty intensive television advertising, some advertising on major streaming platforms such as Netflix and Hulu. which really bumped those awareness numbers up in the last couple of years. And obviously, those stimulus dollars have come and gone, and so just naturally, with a smaller advertising budget, you're going to see a drop in that awareness. But all things considered, 67% awareness of the program and the Colorado Proud logo is overall incredibly high. And so we're looking to that to become our new baseline with our awareness for moving forward. When we dive in to understand where are people seeing the Colorado Proud logo, again, overwhelming majority indicate that they see the Colorado Proud logo on packaging in grocery stores. So again, that's really useful data and information for us to know that people are looking to find the Colorado Proud logo, or they're looking to identify a local product at the shelf level when they're in a grocery store shopping, or when they're in front of the meat counter or in the produce aisle, right? So that helps us pinpoint our marketing efforts better for the future. It also is an indicator, and Danielle will talk a little bit more about this next, of why it's so important for Colorado Proud members to be using the logo on their packaging or using the logo on your boxes and in your own marketing materials, because data does show that is where consumers are most likely to look for the logo when they're making their purchase decision. All right, so then looking at what is the message, the advertising message that's being heard by our consumers, the majority are indicating that they're hearing the message grown in Colorado or made in Colorado, which is exactly what we want them to hear. I'm sure you all have heard us commonly say that Colorado Proud promotes products that are grown, raised, or made here in the state. And so this just reaffirms that message is hitting with consumers. Consumers are remembering that message. That's exactly what we want to see happen. All of the other messages that folks are recalling up from proud Colorado farmers and ranches, raised in Colorado, from proud Colorado businesses, so on and so forth, are all great messages that are also aligned with the Colorado Proud program. So this tells us that by and large, as a whole, consumers know what the message is. They know what Colorado Proud stands for. They know what the logo means when they see it on a package, or they see it on a box, or at a farmer's market. And so that's reassuring for Danielle and myself and Barb, knowing that the work that we're doing is resonating with Colorado consumers. And it should also be reassuring for all of you that consumers are appropriately, correctly associating Colorado Proud with local food businesses that are grown, raised, or made here in the state. And looking then at what's the influence of the Colorado Proud label. So we want to know, right, is it actually making an impact on folks' buying decision making? And so those who are aware of the Colorado Proud program and aware of the logo, as you can see in this chart on the left, 81% are saying they're more likely to buy a product if it has the Colorado Proud label or Colorado Proud logo on it. 71% as a whole are also saying they're more likely to buy it. And so that is reassuring to us, and hopefully to all of you, that the Colorado Proud logo and the Colorado Proud program is making an impact and is making influencing a consumer's purchasing decisions when they're at the store or they're at a farmer's market and they're choosing between two different products on a shelf or two different types of produce that they're looking at. That Colorado Proud logo does make an impact on their purchasing decision. All right, and then these next two slides, we wanted to understand from folks what types of products specifically, drilling down, because obviously there are a lot of different commodities, there are a lot of different food and ag products here in the state. And so, which subset or which commodity are consumers going to be most interested in purchasing if they're noted from being from Colorado? So looking at the blue bars from our most recent survey, they're all still very high and on track with our survey from 18 months ago. But fruits and vegetables, meats, eggs, and dairy and cheese are those top commodities that that folks are interested in purchasing, knowing if they're grown, raised, or made here. We did see a larger decrease in beer, the intent to purchase beer, wine, or the interest to purchase beer, wine, or spirits that would be local from Colorado Proud. And there's a few other things that we'll talk about here in a second that I think could be influencing that decision at this point in time compared to the responses from 18 months ago. And then also looking at, what are the motivators for people to buy local products? Why are they making that decision if they see the Colorado Proud logo in the store, on those specific commodities that we just talked about, right? So overwhelming majority talk about that they're motivated to buy local because it supports Colorado's economy and they know that it comes from a local farmer, rancher, or business. And so again, keeping those things in mind that Colorado consumers want to support local. They want to support their neighbor. They want to, contribute to Colorado's economy and keep our dollars in the state here. Is really a huge driving factor behind why they're making that choice. So that's helpful for all of us and for all of you to know and understand. What are people looking for when they see that logo, or why are they making that decision? Is there's that economic sense, or that supporting your neighbor sense of pride that's making that decision. All right. Something interesting that we discovered in the research this year is, as you can see across this middle line, we have a really solid awareness amongst folks 36 and above, 71 and 73% awareness amongst those that were interviewed in that category, which is great. That tells us that those are likely our audience who have obviously been supporting themselves or managing their household for a number of years. They've been the ones potentially making the buying decisions and the grocery shopping decisions for their household for a number of years. They have seen our Colorado Proud campaigns and heard about Colorado Proud over the last decade or plus, and that information shows in their awareness. There is huge opportunity with our Gen Z population, the 24 to 35, and then our upcoming, 18 to 23 audience, who are just probably starting to make their own purchasing decisions, whether they're young adults or have graduated from college. They're doing their own grocery shopping and they're making their own food purchase decisions for the first time, or on a more consistent basis now as they're aging. And so there's opportunity to educate those two younger audiences as future lifelong Colorado Proud supporters and customers. So that's something that we'll be talking about, and you'll probably be seeing that our marketing is going to focus more heavily over the next year to reach that younger audience. So you'll see more social media, you'll see more digital marketing. There will be sort of a new re-education and reintroduction of what is Colorado Proud to this audience, so that we can start to increase their awareness and knowledge of the program, and convert them to be loyal shoppers and followers, and look for the Colorado Proud logo when they're making their decisions. All right. And then looking at, what would be some other practices, or what would be some other, sustainable areas that folks would be willing to seek out specific products that are grown, raised, or made with any of these following practices. So as you can see, in a fair amount of categories across the board, we do see a drop from 18 months ago. What we wanted to share with you, and interestingly about this, is I do believe that this is primarily price driven, that folks are, they are making their purchase decisions, with their wallet, as they should be, right? And there's a lot of factors and there's a lot of other things going on in the world and in the environment right now that are contributing to that. And we're seeing that impact with people's grocery and food purchasing decisions. And so if they're looking at, can I buy this for one price versus buy something that might be, grass fed or, made without, grown or raised without pesticides or hormones or antibiotic free, things like that, right? If that's going to raise the cost of that product, or that's going to increase the price of the goods, that is an impact that consumers have to weigh when they're making their purchasing decisions. All right. Similarly here, again, just looking at what are some of the other packaging. This is more packaging and labeling specific. Are people willing to pay more or less depending on that, right? So recycled packaging, being made with biodegradable or recyclable materials, things relating to your water footprint, or using renewable and clean energy in your business practices, are all things that folks can indicate that they do consider when they're shopping, and that are things that they do consider when they're making their purchasing decisions as well. All right, so what does this mean? What is consumers' appetite for buying local here in 2025 and looking ahead to 2026? Um, as I said, they're mainly shopping at traditional grocery stores. And I know that that's not something that all of us on this call or every Colorado Proud member is applicable to them, but I share that with you all as a data point and as an important data point to know where the vast majority of our Colorado residents are making their purchase decisions. There is interest in purchasing local products and supporting local businesses. That interest is strong, even though it's decreased in the last 18 months. It is still very strong, and it is there. Most folks view Colorado Proud as grown or made in Colorado. As I said, that's exactly the message that we want them to be. We want them to be resonating with and remembering. We have a strong awareness amongst Coloradans 35 and older, and we've got a huge opportunity to increase that awareness amongst the Gen Z and up and coming Gen Alpha audience as well. And then, as I mentioned, price is very much a deciding factor when folks are purchasing. So I encourage us all to just keep that in mind, that in some instances, it doesn't matter about the packaging, it doesn't matter. And all of the other factors that we go into producing our product, sometimes it all just comes down to the price. And that is a fact of our economy and a fact of life today. So are there any questions before I hand it over to Danielle?
I'm not seeing any hands or anything in the chat. I
Okay.
was very interested in the packaging type slide. That's really very insightful, especially for our Colorado Proud members, right? I mean, if you're thinking about revamping anything at this point or for next year, that's a really interesting slide in terms of what people like made with recycled materials or biodegradable. That's very insightful.
Yeah, I do think it is a very insightful piece of data, Barb, and it shows us what folks, consumers are interested in, or what's important to them when they're making their decisions, or what they're looking for when they're looking at a shelf full of different packaged goods or different items. What could be those differentiators that make a product or make a brand stand out more on the shelf more so than others, or things that we should be considering, like you said, if you're going to be overhauling your packaging or redesigning your label in the next year or so. These would be some things to definitely look into or consider.
Yeah, that was a good question you guys put on there. Wonderful. Well, does anybody have any questions for Tara or comments on the information? Maybe it was surprising in some of the cases, or pretty much what we all expected. Well, if you do, feel free to put them in the chat or raise your hand and we'll certainly address it. And yeah, great. Thank you, Tara. Excellent job. I love seeing that these data and just hearing what people are saying out there about the logo, but also about what they're buying.
Especially right now, I think this data is very useful, and it's very helpful to know where people's heads are at, what's influencing their decisions, and their buying trends right now.
Oh, definitely. Great.
I will turn it over to Danielle.
Welcome, Danielle. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for putting this together, Barb. And thank you everyone for being here. It's always interesting to have a lot of information thrown at you, but it is useful information, we think, and we love sharing it. So we also do a member Just for our Colorado Proud members, we do a survey every year. It's a great way for us to get a pulse check on how everyone's doing with the program and if there's anything we need to change. It's a really important part of what we use at the department to make decisions funding wise and how to move the program forward. So, one of the questions we ask are how members are marketing themselves. I think that we can see from this graph that word of mouth is one of the biggest portions of how folks are marketing themselves. But social media is a close second. And what we do with Colorado Proud and in conjunction with philosophy is we run a really great social media marketing campaign. Some of the things we do are, asking members to share their social media posts with us and we can repost them or, post them separately. We love to give shout outs to some of our members at certain times a year that it's convenient to help draw people to your business. We have grown our social media followings both on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, just exponentially. So that's one thing we really wanted to do over the last few years because we know that a lot of our younger generation, what you could see from Tara's part of the presentation, that we have great, notoriety and, are recognized from folks 35 and older. But we also are needing to capture the younger generation. And so we really made an effort to push that on social media because we know that that's a really great way to talk to younger generations, especially as they move to make more decisions for themselves on what they're eating, and what they're influenced to buy. So we're glad that we're glad that our members are also working on social media. And you can see here some other things that our members are doing, but I think that, we are working hand in hand with our members on the things that they're doing here, the most. So this really helps us focus where we can do more campaigning for you. We always ask like what kind of roadblocks are our members facing for their businesses? And this is really helpful too because a lot of our programs within the department, not just within Colorado Proud, but in the overall department can help on a lot of these issues. We have like the farm to market grant, ag workforce development. And so you will be able to tell from what I just said that these are some of the things that we're working on. Labor and staffing, we do have a great, we have a great program within our own division about helping you pay for your interns and getting also folks more involved in agriculture. Um, Consumer awareness and understanding, this one is kind of hard to see because we do a lot of talking to the consumers and letting them know why buying local is important, how to buy local, making it as easy as possible, also working with retailers. And so, we'll be doing some more work on that this year. We'll see that, inflation is part of the issue. There's some of that we can control, and there's some of that we cannot control. We know that there were a lot of grants available the last year. There will still be some like loan and grant programs available moving forward, but a lot of that is uncertain as well. But when we see that these roadblocks are, some of the more important ones for our members, we definitely try to address them however we can or put our members in connection with folks and other organizations or businesses that can help them overcome those. We love to know what kind of resources everyone is using from our program, and then again, we can make those resources better for you. So the Colorado Proud logo, we love that 41.9% of our members are using it. We'd love to see that number be at like 80 or 90%. It really, to me, is the easiest part of the program. We have the logo in several different formats. We have it located on a Google Drive. We give you access to that Google Drive, or even if you email one of our team members directly, and we'll get that to you. We know people are looking for it. We know the retailers really enjoy using it and showcasing it. And through all of our other efforts, this is what we're driving people to at the end of the day. So this logo is important and it's really easy to use. We have a really great monthly Colorado Proud newsletter, which is a great way that we're also trying to do more B2B connection. We're featuring certain businesses every month, and then we're hoping that maybe some other businesses can work hand in hand. For example, we have a company that makes millet and lavender infused heating and cooling, not blankets, but like pillows. And so they're connected with regenerative farming out on the Eastern Plains to get that millet. And so and like lavender farms up on the Front Range. So we really like to just help you guys get connected with one another because having that network of folks is really, really important. If you need some sort of input for your product, most likely we know someone that can do that for you. So it's really one of the most exciting parts about being a Colorado Proud member. Um, I was just going to say one more thing. We also really push all of our digital marketing campaigns. Yeah, we have them on social media, but really we drive them to the Colorado Proud website. So really making sure that your listing is very specific and up to date is really important because that's where we are driving our consumers. And, at the height of at the height of the season, we have about 12,000 visitors per month on that website. So again, it's a really great resource. So we love to get feedback on what people are using. We always ask what we do well and what we can improve on. Again, really important for each year so that we can make those decisions to make this work for you as best we can, because that truly is the only reason we're doing this. So what Colorado Proud does well is raising consumer awareness about local food and agricultural products and businesses. Yeah, that's what Colorado Proud is. It's basically just saying, hey, this is from here, it was made here, it's used with this, it's local, keeping those dollars local. So that's what we love to do. That is really a big part of Colorado Proud. We do that through School Meal Day, which now we'll be doing a whole month of Colorado Proud School Meal Month, and that's a huge change. So getting involved with schools. So we really try to connect all those dots with the consumers so that they really rely on what Colorado Proud is saying on social media and our website. Um, I think that our second thing here is maintaining a list of Colorado Proud businesses. Again, kind of what we saw on the other pages. It's, the awareness, the marketing campaigns, using social media for that, and then also having a really easy website to access, which this year we went another step further. So not only is our website accessible to anyone, so if someone needs a screen reader or anything like that, it's all, a color contrast, it's all up to date that way. We also took it a step further and made sure that our map was also accessible this year. So this is just another way to make sure all people can utilize the website. So I think those are the things we do really, really well. I think there's things we can improve on. Everyone wants grants and dollars to help grow their business. Although maybe some of that has changed this year and might be changing over the next few years, what we do know is that we work with a lot of great organizations like the Small Business Bureau. We work with Rural Colorado and CSU, a lot of Naturally Colorado, a lot of different organizations that really help people find angel investors or grant opportunities or do pitch contests to be able to get their product to the next level. So, yes, we'd like to have more direct dollars to give to everybody, but we also know a lot of people. So I think we can improve on that this year as well, sharing that information. Value and consumer awareness marketing. Everyone seems to like that we use social media and the website. We really we know retailers really love to use the logo on their own, which is really great. I think it speaks very highly of the program. We're working with them to continue that not only seasonally, but just more robustly. And we're always just asking them to continue to use it. And so I think we do a really good job with that. But again, to be able to speak to the younger generations, we have put a little more time and effort into social media. And I think it will pay off in the next 5 years. Where members need support, marketing and advertising. And yeah, some of these when I reviewed this a while ago, I was like, oh, okay, we do that really well, but then people still need support. What we learned from that is we're happy to you can lean on us. Working with Philosophy again has grown our social media following exponentially. I can't say enough about that because they've really taken the ideas that we wanted and be able to speak to that younger generation. And so we encourage our Colorado Proud members to email us and say, hey, could we get this posted on social media? Could you reshare this for us? Could you, feature this on your story or have a TikTok about it? We are happy to do that. And really, we get a lot of positive feedback. We worked with a company near Father's Day that really wanted to get on Colorado Proud social media to be able to showcase their product, for people to purchase for Father's Day. And we came up with like a series of posts and we helped them out. And that's a free resource that we offer. Um, Sales, that is something that we're really working on. We have the opportunity to go to a lot of food shows or consumer packaged goods shows, and different events, and we're happy to cover part of the cost for that. So this year we've made a push to maybe find some more of those events. And Barb, our business development specialist, has got us involved with a lot of events where Colorado Proud members can donate some product and we get it out there in the public. So it's a really easy way to get your name out there as well and kind of make those B2B connections. So, but I think that, we do a really good job of, some of the top things. And then, like I said, funding is really hard at this time, but we're happy to continue to make sure we know that what opportunities are out there. What can Colorado Proud provide more of? So again, our members have said that they want more marketing or sales resources. So we have really beefed up, no pun intended, our resource Google Drive. And so we're always putting things in there. We recently just came up with a Colorado Proud logo in Spanish. And so we'll be working to roll that out later this season. And we're always trying to give our Colorado Proud members more resources to utilize. If there's something specific, we would love an email. Again, this maybe didn't allow folks to really write in what they needed there, but you'll see that if you're feeling this way, a lot of other Colorado Proud members are feeling this way too. So we are, I think, addressing a lot of the things that Colorado Proud could provide more of. Well, we just redid our newsletter, and we've had a lot of positive feedback, and we have just tried to keep it shorter but more impactful, more links and resources that our proud members can really use. And so our members have thought that it's been good over the last year, but we had a push from our communications division to maybe just shorten it down a little bit, which I'm glad they did because we've got a lot of good feedback. If there's anything you'd ever want us to add into the newsletter, we'd love for, please reach out and let us know. But what we're trying to do is condense it, but make it really impactful. So any grant or financing opportunities, any events that you should know about, a featured member, our recipe in case the Colorado Proud consumer recipe involves something that you produce. It's a great way to loop in with our social media. So I think it really keeps everyone very in tune with what the department's doing, especially Colorado Proud, and really great opportunities. So we were happy to see that our members thought that as well. Yeah, so we have some really exciting things coming up. Colorado Proud's focus for the next year, making Colorado Proud members accessible to consumers. So really easy to find people on the website, easy clicks, get you to where you want to go, and exactly what you're looking for. So we've updated our website map to also be very more specific. Like if you're putting something in there, consumers don't have a list of every profile that has that word in it. So we've updated that. And we always will continue to highlight and our members through social media, newsletter, and events, raising awareness amongst consumers. We're continuing to push on, of course, focusing on that younger generation, but also keeping our, 35 and older in the loop as well. And so that will be one of our focuses this year to up that awareness with younger consumers. Meeting consumers where they're shopping. So yes, a lot of people shop in the grocery store, but maybe that looks different because they're doing that on Instacart or through King Soopers delivery. So right now we started a campaign with Instacart to make sure people are shopping for local. So there'll be banners. If you have a SKU with a grocery store or in general, that will be on the list so people can find it. And it's a great time of year because it's back to school, and so people can be looking for those snacks and foods that they want to have. And it's also high season for local food, produce and whatnot. So we're really trying to push that digitally and not just in store in newspaper. And then, of course, we're always looking for different partnerships and opportunities. Again, one of those was Instacart. We've worked with other online retailers, but we'll be continuing to see what works best and that we can show an ROI on what we're doing. So, did it increase the sales for those folks? And then, of course, expanding the member toolkit, more turnkey marketing materials. Is there an easy way to make a post that has like the Colorado Proud logo on it, things like that to make it just, again, like it says here, turnkey. And then promoting the resource and letting people know when we update the resource folder so that people can utilize those new things. So we threw a lot of information at you, but I think I would open it up for questions. And I think it's really great that you guys joined today. Colorado Proud is here to work for you. It's what we want to do. We want to continue to drive people to eat locally, support their own communities. And then we have so many great things in this state. It's just important to keep that message going.
Well, excellent job. Does anybody have any questions for Danielle? I'm not seeing hands or anything in the chat. Thanks, Dan. I would also just point out to the great presentation Danielle just gave on the feedback that we received. As Colorado Proud members, don't forget about our podcasts if you would like to be featured on one, or don't forget to listen to them. We do try to cover a lot of different topics throughout the year, and we do 2 a month. So if that's something that interests people, and same for these webinars, right? We're happy to work with the group if there's something an idea that is of interest, send it to us. Well, I don't see any questions. I can't thank you guys enough. I know that was a lot of information. You guys did a great job in putting it all together into something understandable and that we were able to follow. So what's next, Danielle? When will the next survey be done?
When did we decide, Tara, for the member survey? It's normally during the winter, right?
Yes, so the next member survey will be again in Q1 2026. So please take time to, you'll see that come through via email and in the Colorado Proud newsletter. So please take the time to respond to that. As Danielle said, that is the number one way that we can ensure that the marketing efforts that we're putting forward are accomplishing what you want and need them to accomplish. And we're best supporting you and all of our members.
Excellent. Well, I can't thank you guys enough. Danielle, do you have anything else you'd like to share?
No, I don't. Thank you, everyone who joined in today. And if you need anything, please feel free to reach out.
Wonderful. Thanks, everybody. And, keep checking in on Cultivation Station. We do have some great podcasts coming up. We're talking with the Colorado Pork Producers Council, and we're talking with Bravo CPG in the coming weeks. So tune into that. And also keep checking our newsletter for our September webinar. We're still working on that topic, but you'll see it soon. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day.